The following is brought to you by paulakers.net.
First day, Team 36, February 2023, 2-second lean Japan study mission. We start off in Tokyo at 12 noon. We hit the ground running and we walk through the Shinso Temple with Izawa-san, our sensei, who filled us in about details about Japan that we just were not familiar with, and we learned a lot of new great things. But we had a wonderful day. We had beautiful weather, and we found out about working like a team. That's what's important to the Japanese. And he told us the Japanese people wish peace upon all nations and all countries. We walked through the temple area and then we walked to a restaurant at night. We had some great pictures overlooking the Skytree and we had a wonderful dinner. Day 2, Tokyo, Japan. 2-second lean Japan study mission. We start off our first full day at 8 o'clock in the morning. We walk through the Shinso Temple. We go to the subway station and we're going to ride the Ginza line into Tokyo Center. And we're going to go right into the heart of Tokyo. And when we get there, we get to see a fabulous job site from our conference room overlooking the largest high-rise being built right in the heart of Tokyo. The job site is spectacular. After we viewed that, Mr. Yabe began to speak about the 7-minute miracle and the cleaning of the Shinkansen. After that, we went across the street to Tokyo Station and we saw the actual 7-minute miracle in action. We saw the people come to clean this train in just 7 minutes while passengers waited. It was absolutely unbelievable. This is a national treasure, this railway system. Japan has it like no one else in the world. We got a great chance to view this amazing process of cleaning this train so the customers always experience operational excellence. And we walked through Tokyo Station, we went into the interior, saw the beautiful architecture, and then we went across the street to the post office and had a wonderful lunch. We said goodbye to Mr. Yabe. We had a beautiful Japanese meal overlooking this fantastic skyline. We had epic weather, got some great photographs, and from there we began the walk to the Imperial Palace. We saw some great sights along the way, as well as these beautiful pine trees that have been pruned to perfection. Then we walked through the Imperial Gardens. It was so beautiful. Now it's the dead of winter. In the summertime and in the spring it's full of color, but it was still absolutely spectacular. We went up to see where the original shogun had his castle. We went through the gardens and we went back over. We saw the original castle, what it must have looked like, walked across the street, stopped at Starbucks real quick, had a quick break, went over to MacArthur's office where MacArthur actually conducted the reconstruction of Japan in 1945. From there, we went to a small Tokyo home building project to see the craftsmanship and the attention to detail that these craftsmen display every day as they build a small, beautiful home. So we contrasted between this giant high-rise being built in Tokyo Center to a small, modest home out in the suburbs of Tokyo, and it was absolutely beautiful. They treated us like royalty. They showed us their amazing tools, their joinery, and all their techniques. They let us demo them, get to try them, work with the block planes, work with their fabulous tools that cut to absolute precision. People were blown away by how exacting the quality of the house construction was and the way they kept the job site so perfectly clean. Even though we left our shoes a mess, they straightened them up for us. It was just unbelievable. And then we took a quick picture at the end. This is our shoes before, this is our shoes after they got done with them. And then from there, we went on to Dollar Store with thousands and thousands of innovative products. We did a little contest and Pablo won, and we had a great first full day in Tokyo. Okay, day 3, Team 36. We're going from Tokyo to Nagoya. We wake up super early in the morning, 6:45. We're up and going and getting on the Shinkansen. A lot of people have not even ridden on this before, and it's going to be a really epic journey at almost 200 miles an hour down to Nagoya, about 100 minutes. We're going to get there so fast we won't even know it hit us. And on the way down, beautiful, spectacular weather. And what do we get to see? Fujisan. Mount Fuji. Not often you get to see it. It's kind of shy, but today it was out in full glory. And the next thing you know, we arrived in Nagoya at the Toyota Techno Museum. And we went inside and spent almost 2 hours there viewing all the original Toyota loom works, learning about cotton, learning about the weaving machine and Sakichi Toyota and all the amazing innovations that he brought to this industry. Seiichi Toyoda is revered as one of the best inventors in the world and definitely the best inventor in all of Japan. His innovations and patents are renowned. And it all started when the young Seiichi was flying his kite, and the kite tugged on his hand, and he thought, man, he could take this string and apply it to make his mother move the shuttle from left to right. Next thing you know, he developed Judoka, and to this day, the Judoka and innovations and kaizens that Seiichi developed are still being used. It is absolutely amazing and the most modern equipment. Then we went over to the forging area, and then we went into Kiichiro, his son, who started the Toyota Motor Company. We learned about all the great innovations that Kiichiro brought to the table, including going to the original workshops where he had his laboratories, as well as where he built the original and first cars for Toyota Motor Works. Absolutely amazing. And during that journey, we were able to take great photographs of everybody standing next to Kiichiro on the Gemba, watching and seeing what he could learn and what he could improve. Such an amazing individual who taught us to go and see. Getchi Gambutsu, go and get your boots on and go and watch. And that's exactly what we did. Then from there, we went into the original workshop where they had the model car that was all made out of wood, and they pounded the fenders over a log. Absolutely amazing story. And Kiichiro had many accolades. Many of the engineers that worked with him thought he was an amazing person and all the great principles. After that, we went to the elementary school, and oh my gosh, the kids, they blew us away. They were so energetic and so engaging and answered our questions and asked questions. Fantastic. We watched them eat lunch and clean up after themselves. It was truly amazing. And then after all that, they cleaned the entire school with no chiding from any adults. They just get after it. No one's saying, hey, do this and do that. They just naturally do this. Soji. This is very natural for the Japanese children. And then Dan, an American who's been living in Japan for, I think, almost 30 years, gave us a great talk about what's so special about living in Japan. And yes, Aaron almost missed the bus because he went to Denny's instead of Kura Sushi. But we had a great lunch and then off to ABEX. And we had a tour of ABEX, a tier 1, tier 2 supplier, and we heard from the chairman of the board. And that wrapped up day 3 in Japan for Japan Study Mission 36. Day 4, Nagoya. Team 36, we had an epic start to the day because we went to the fish market so early, 6 o'clock, and they were slicing up the tuna, and it was really fantastic. So many different fish to see. They were cutting this beautiful ahi tuna up, and before long, they brought a big tuna up, and it was over the top. It was 123 kilos, over $10,000, and we watched them skillfully slice this guy up and turn it into sashimi. It was absolutely fantastic. What a way to start the morning. Only at Nagoya Fish Market. It is such a special place. I've been there so many times, and it's so interesting to watch these skilled craftsmen. Before long, we were at Mifune, and Mr. Umemura and Mr. Amazawa came on the bus and gave our opening comments to everyone, and it was really, really special. And then we went into their Obeya room, and we watched how they process new products and new parts. They explained their triangle Kanban system, which was really, really interesting. The goal of this day was to go through the entire flow process of how Mifune deals with products. And we even went to their brand new facility. This will be their 3rd facility. They just built a new one, and now they built this one because they're growing so fast. We went in and saw their scheduling board, their Hankaten board, and we saw how they process and manage all their team members. It was quite interesting. From there, we went on to watch some of their welding operations, and we got to see how precisely they do everything and how they maintain quality at every step of the way. Everybody's checking and scrutinizing every part to make sure perfection is passed on to the next station. Quality is everyone's responsibility. There are no final inspectors, if you will. Everybody inspects their own work and makes sure it's perfect. And then we saw the 5-minute die change of over 5 dies. It was absolutely spectacular, including the automation. And the first part that came off was carefully inspected. The first and last part, they showed us how they do that. We went into their welding line. We saw so many interesting things. Also, we went into their grocery store and we saw how they schedule and work with people who don't speak Japanese. And we found out about the Yosh triangle in the morning. And then we went into their Kanban room. We checked out how the Kanbans are done. And we just had a fantastic time. Then off for lunch to the Lean grocery store. We picked up some Yaki Imo. Everyone got what they wanted for lunch. And we saw this amazing
grocery store, and then onto the strawberry park. This is world class. It's one of the best strawberry farms anywhere. We heard how the farm was started from the operator and the general manager, and then we went out into the strawberry farm and picked these delicious strawberries and ate till our heart's content. I never ate so many strawberries in my entire life. It was just an amazing experience. I think everybody was gorged on strawberries by the time it was all done, but it was so cool. And their bathrooms there, oh my gosh, they're world class. Got a final parting shot with everybody. And off we were to our next stop, the dojo at Mifune. Now, we built this dojo this year, and it's just worked out so well. We had a great time learning how to practice process. We got a final closing shot with Mr. Umemura, wave goodbye to Mr. Amazawa, and then off to the clean center and the incinerator plant. Now, this is just really over the top. This is where they deposit all their trash, but it's like the Ritz-Carlton. It's a teaching laboratory for young kids as young as 10 years old. Come here and learn about the process of managing garbage. It's absolutely fascinating. The place is sparkling clean. They have great systems and processes for everything. They have this huge control room that controls the 2 incinerators, burns everything at 1,300 degrees and then 500 degrees respectively in the 2 different incinerators. They have a huge Gomi room where they pick up the garbage and they put it into the incinerator, and then this is their control room for the crane. And then Pablo, big eyes, big ears, sees their lunchroom and sees that everything's labeled on the doors with the pots and pans. We had a great closing picture with everyone, and Pablo even jumped on the bike and generated some electricity. What an amazing time we had at the Incineration Clean Center. And look at the Omotai Nashi waving goodbye, and we responded in kind. What a day. And then at the end of the day, we had to do a few more things. We went down to Takashimaya department store, one of the oldest department stores in all of Japan. We saw a great piano player, but look at these desserts. Is this incredible? They have a whole sweets floor on the very bottom and a bunch of amazing food. It's like the most gourmet you could ever imagine. What a crazy day we had. Absolutely jam-packed. Day 4, 2 Second Lean Japan experience. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, Team 36, day 5. We start off with an epic trip to the post office. Who would ever say the post office would be epic? But in Japan, the post office is over the top. They have all these small little vans, and they personally inspect every one of them every morning. And they have this amazing team of motorcycles, 80 motorcycles that do an obstacle course every morning for training to make sure their kata, their routine, their safety, and their standard is flawless. They haven't had an accident in over 1 year. They have 80 motorcycles out on the road every day in heavy traffic, and everything goes just like clockwork. They even have the pockets on their jackets turned inside out to make sure no mail is ever left inside. That's their countermeasure. They put their boots flat so you can see inside the boots so no mail could ever be left inside of there. They have done so many cool things. And then we're back on the road, and Mr. Amazawa answers some great questions as we travel along. And the next thing, we go to the loom factory. This isn't just any loom factory. This is the loom factory that over 100 years ago Sakichi Toyota set up personally and spent months there training them. This is the 6th generation. They're actually making fabric for kimonos, and they're the last factory remaining in all of Japan. It is really amazing. They have over 40 machines, and they run the machines based on demand of the kimonos. Sometimes they have all of them running, sometimes they have half of them running. They have just 2 or 3 people managing all these machines, and they work just like they worked over 100 years ago. And it was just unbelievable to see what was going on here. You could stay there all day. It almost makes you cry when you see it. It's just so absolutely amazing. The people are just a gem. They're wonderful human beings, and they still run this factory in the traditional Japanese manner. It is just a beautiful thing to watch them do this. All the detail, all the love and care that's put into this. And then they have a wonderful little gift store. And then after we bought all our stuff, we walked through this amazing town, which has all these beautiful Buddha temples everywhere. And the craftsmanship is incredible, over 600 years old. And then we discovered something so interesting. The Buddhist monks, they actually had a display of what heaven would look like. It was so beautiful. And the thing that got me the most was these beautiful flowers are coming up out of the mud, and they indicated that the mud represented the hard times in your life. but as you push through those, you actually have a heavenly experience. And then we went into a heavenly experience because we saw these beautiful gardens and all these Buddhist temples all around this village. It was absolutely incredible. We had lunch, and then we went to Viva Home, and Viva Home is like the Home Depot of Japan. They have everything you can imagine, the highest quality, Japanese precision, such an interesting mix of products, whether you're shopping for your pets or for the garden or for tools, every hammer you could imagine, every chalk line, Viva Home. What a day we had. And then on our trip to Kyoto, Mr. Amazawa gave his final closing talks, and it was so good. We had an amazing day 5. Team 36, you rock. Team 36, are you ready for Kyoto? This will be the first time we've ever brought anybody here. In all the years we've been doing the Japan study mission, nobody's ever come to Kyoto, but we thought it would be so important to show you how absolutely amazing this place is. And the Korowari, everywhere you look, Roanji, this is a special place, the sand garden, the temple that Steve Jobs loved to come to because it was so tranquil, and he would come here and meditate in this very garden, and we got to experience that. But not only did we get to experience it, but nobody else was there. We got there at 9 o'clock in the morning as the sun was coming up and washing over our faces. It was almost magical. It was a spiritual experience. We feel so fortunate that we were able to experience this at this level like never before. I've been here many times, and I've never felt what I felt this time. And we saw everyone doing the soji, the cleaning in the morning, and making sure everything was meticulously taken care of in the Japanese tradition. And we just marveled at the craftsmanship and the detail as we walked around this forest. Probably one of the most interesting things is I've been here in beautiful seasons in the spring and in the fall when the leaves were all out, but this time the leaves were off, but it was just as magical. It had just as special an appeal, all the different seasons here, and we walked around the lake, and it was absolutely stunning. And then right next door to Roanji is Kitayama-san, our good friend from Kyoto's statue garden, and he walked us through the entire thing. He has been a master for over 6 generations making these statues and then placing them in the most beautiful gardens all over Kyoto. We waved goodbye to him. He gave us a fabulous tour, and then on to the Golden Pavilion. Oh my gosh, we got our tickets. Even the tickets were spectacular. Rang the bell, and then viewed this spectacular Golden Pavilion that a shogun built to basically demonstrate his power and his influence, overlooking this fantastic pond. And again, the gardens were just ridiculous. And again, we felt so blessed. Look at the weather. It's just spectacular. It's a very cold winter day, but the sun is warming us as we wind up through the little mountainside overlooking the beautiful Golden Pavilion, and we see the tea house that has been moved there. And best of all, we have Nemo-san with us, and Nemo-san's filling us in on all the detail. He's lived here for over 20 years in Kyoto, and he's an expert in the area, and he just gave us all the background and history and uncovered all these special places like this beautiful bonsai garden, which is just so outrageous. I couldn't even believe the things I was seeing. We're talking plants and trees that are over 700 years old. And then we went to my favorite sand garden of all. This one is a little dojo tucked away in Daitokoji. This is a very special place, a very special temple that has working dojos all around it. And this particular dojo takes your breath away. It's just so beautiful. And again, we had the morning sun washing over us as we prayed and we meditated here, and the woodworking and everything was just so beautiful. And then Kyoto's Kitchen, this beautiful street market where you can buy all this crazy food, absolutely delicious, packed with energy and lots of people. And then we went to Toji Temple. Toji Temple is right in the center of Kyoto. It's on the entrance coming into it. And this was a very special place. And the pagoda there was 500 years old. And it was just something, and we got to go inside. And once again, we were so fortunate. I've never personally got to go inside a pagoda, and this was the first time. And from there, we went to one of the most famous places in all of Kyoto. We walked to this beautiful Edo village, all the way up to the pagoda, and up to one of the most special places of all, the temple on the top of the hill called Kiyomizu Temple. Now, this is called the Temple of Water because there's a spring that comes out of it, and the temple was built around that. And as we walked up, we saw this beautiful red pine stretched out across this entire wall. Just crazy stuff as you walk up. This is the center of Kyoto in terms of energy. Everyone loves to come here and walk in their kimonos, and they bring their dogs. It's just a beautiful walk, a couple hours up and back, and we enjoyed the beautiful weather. Again, we got some great pictures along the way, and as we finally made it up to the very top, it was just over the top because it was on top of the whole city, overlooking beautiful Kyoto. We got to ring the bells and just experience this special place with this giant balcony, huge balcony that everybody stands on and looks out over Kyoto and over the forest. And look at this. Wow, what a special place. So a special thanks to Nemo-san. He did such an awesome job of leading us through Kyoto. And to Team 36, you were amazing. We finished our day up in a beautiful restaurant at the Hyatt. We walked in the entryway and we saw and we felt the attention to detail that the Japanese give to everything. Well, thanks for coming along on the 2 Second Lean Japan Experience 2023. You rock. Well, hopefully you liked the video. Remember, like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to know what you think. Pass it on to a friend. Let's change the world together through continuous improvement. If you want to read any of my books, everything's free on my app, 2 Second Lean Play. Just download it and start listening. Let's change the world one step at a time, one improvement at a time.